Hello, everyone. I have a distinct pleasure of having my mentor and a wonderful, wonderful teacher, Dr. Roger Jhanke, with me today. And just a few minutes back, we were chatting about something, and he talked about interplay of destiny and willpower, and he's very successful in his life, professionally as well as teaching so many thousands of people. So, Roger, tell us a little bit about how that played in your life.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you so much. Yeah, so how do I even know how to say those words? It took decades and decades to be able to actually piece together, well, what does it even mean, destiny? And then willpower is a little easier, but actually applying willpower requires willpower, and destiny is just already there. And so people say to me all the time, and probably to you as well, what can I do to be fulfilled?
Mhm.
And one of my responses is to see if you can, uh, shall we say, parse the relationship between what you try to make happen and as opposed to what happens
I see.
spontaneously.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things that's really interesting about that is to notice what happens spontaneously.
I see.
You have to think about what you might try to make happen, but then don't try to make it happen.
I see.
Then, if it happens anyway, you know that it was destined.
I see.
And that's a pretty subtle sort of domain of personal practice.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I think I found my way into it. Let's say that I became interested in these ideas when I
Right.
was in my 20s, but that I actually took until I was in my 50s and 60s
Right.
to be able to understand the kind of, like, what do you want to call it, the machinery, or the yeah, we'll just call it the machinery of these two ideas of the relationship between accomplishing through will and accomplishing through the spontaneous gifts of, I don't know, would that be our karma, or some kind of blessing from God?
So
So anyway,
yeah,
that's the thing, man.
interesting that you say that. Now, did you say that you were able to handle some of the stuff that was quote unquote going to happen? Maybe you altered it, maybe you changed it some way. Do you have some instances where that happened to you? That you said yes, you created this or manifested this because you intervened.
I really have to say that no, I know the relationship between these two things. Um, and I have had the experience of discovering something that I think I would like to make happen, but then instead of trying to make that happen, listen to that phrase, trying to, that's exhausting. To make there, that's exhausting again. Something, that's a thing. It doesn't have anything to do with a non-thing. I mean, everything's a non-thing in its own way. And then make something happen. It's kind of like the phrase itself is just, it's so heavy.
Right,
And so there have been some times when I've said to myself, well, what if I just plant the seed in
right,
my own consciousness
right,
of that happening,
right.
but then I don't actually do anything? And then sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't.
But do you provide, yeah, you're a gardener, so I'm just going to ask you, you pick up the seed. When you plant the seed, do you provide any environment? Do you do anything else to the seed or just plant the seed? That's it.
Yeah, I think the watering and the
Right,
nourishing of that seed has to do in the context that we're talking about. In other words, to try to actually get um, the destiny thing to show itself.
right,
It mostly through, I don't know, meditation, prayer,
right.
preparing myself to be the recipient,
So it's interesting you say about the seed. Now I'm going to catch on the seed part of it because that to me appeals the most. Is the fact that you sow the seeds and you know you have plenty of seeds there. Not all of them grow even if you did everything. Recognize that. And the question comes up often is, what is the dead seed doing? Did the dead seed that never grew up, did it do anything to the soil?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's
Yeah,
all about that, right? I mean, that's a beautiful image that comes from all the great indigenous and shamanic cultures, the concept of seeds, positive seeds, negative seeds, even evil seeds.
right,
And, when you cast seeds and some land on fertile ground and some land on less than fertile ground, the circumstances,
right,
it's a very big key word there. Circumstances are not such for some seeds, but they are exactly such for other seeds. And the ones that are exactly such flourish, and the ones that are not such,
right.
struggle.
That part was destiny, but then willpower and your action to nurture the seeds were required in order to
I think that I've done, I've stayed up late a lot, gotten up early a lot, paid a lot of dues.
right, right,
I do a massive amount of networking.
right.
So it's really hard to reach a final conclusion on this. And I think that the key is just knowing that destiny is to some extent present in the process. And I'll say for myself that I'm sort of almost unfairly blessed. And so when people say, how did you do it? It's almost like one of my answers needs to be, I'm, sort of excessively blessed.
It's the right place, right person, right circumstances at the right time. So it's true exactly, I'm going to end this with a metaphor that I heard, and it was a beautiful metaphor. So I just want to use it in here, this context. And you really outlined very beautifully about the fact that yes, we do want to act, and yet all the outcome of the action is not necessarily that you expected, or all the time it doesn't happen that way. Like happen is the word we started with, and so it may not happen. That's true. The metaphor given was that of a safe deposit box in a bank with two keys, one key with the banker, one with us. Banker is a destiny. We are the willpower acting guys. If he goes alone, it will not open. If I go alone, it will not happen. We have to have the two working together. So I
Yeah,
think
that's a Tai Chi.
and that is Tai Chi. Wow,
It
that's
is Tai
beautiful.
Chi.
Now, Tai Chi is a balance, isn't it? Is that what you mean? Balance of these two things.
The balance of these two things.
Wow. Raja, this is amazing. I don't even think that we can conclude here. I think we'll have to continue and go further into it in next session whenever we have it. Thank you very much for delving into this phenomenal topic.
Yeah, what a beautiful pleasure, and many blessings to everyone who's listening.
Thank you.